Good evening, everyone. Can I please have a motion and a second to reconvene the public meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence to honor our servicemen and women? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will the district clerk pro tem please call the roll?
Ms. Torregrossa. Present. Mrs. DiLorenzo. Can't see with my glasses. Okay. Well, I'm here. There you are. Mrs. Napolitano-Ferno.
Present.
Mrs. Mallon.
Present.
Dr. Senamore.
Present.
Mrs. Iannatelli.
Present.
Mr. Kohler-Hefar.
Hi-yo.
Mrs. Poppy.
Present.
Mr. Hauser.
Present.
Thank you. Can I please have a motion and a second to accept the minutes of the September 10, 2024 meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. So tonight we have some special students in our audience. We have some special recognitions to give out, and I will call Mr. Cassine and Ms. Rapone up to the podium to hand those out and explain a little of the program.
Good evening. Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Poppy, Dr. C, and the board for recognizing the summer 2024 summer interns. I'm very proud of these students, and they've taken a huge step in investing in their future now. The process for the summer internship program actually begins months before the actual internship. The students apply and interview through my office, and then go through the process of writing a professional resume and interviewing skills, and then have to interview with their respective business hosts. After interviewing, these students were granted the internship, so I'm very proud that they've actually earned it. Not everybody is granted an internship, so they should be very proud of themselves. They all satisfied the number of hours required by New York State through the Work-Based Learning Office, and some will further gain co-op credit, which means it will be recognized on their transcript, which says that they actually completed a minimum of 150 internship hours and have taken CTE-aligned courses throughout their high school career. The practical skills and insight on a particular career and the mentoring they get are incredible, but equally as important are the professional skills that they gain and that they learn the power of networking. And I just want to tell a little story, quick story, because this kind of all is very rewarding for me. This program started 3 years ago, and my very first intern was Alex Rodriguez, and he interned at Panetta Physical Therapy. So he was in his junior year when he interned. And he is now going to, I believe, UConn, so he's in Connecticut, and he's in a 6-year kinesiology program. When he came back this summer, Panetta hired him to work as an aide, and he will have that job each summer when he returns from college. And he was training the students that were interning at Panetta this summer. So it was very rewarding to see this all come full circle just after the 3 years. So I want to congratulate the interns, and I want to thank my director, Rob Cassine, Mrs. Poppy, Dr. C, and the board for really supporting this vital program, because without their support, none of this would be possible, and the students wouldn't be able to, further their learning and gain these practical skills. And I think we all understand how important it is for them to be able to narrow down their career path even before they get out of high school. So congratulations. And I'm going to call each of you out. Unfortunately, some couldn't make it tonight. A handful of them have interviews with Scope Educational Services. They're going to be working there, and they have their orientation tonight, and a few others had commitments already. Valentina Gutierrez. Gabriela Estevez. Lindsay Kahn. Sabrina Ganzi. Hannah Anthony. Anhar Golam. Jacob Morgan. Shanzeh Rahman. Matthew Escobar. Nene Diallo. And Matthew Kutchma. Is Mrs. Kutchma here? Okay. I thought she was going to come in and get Matthew's certificate on his behalf. He is in Wake Forest University. He's one of our top business students, so we'll mail him his certificate. Thank you again.
Congratulations to all the students, and thank you for Mr. Prone and Mr. Kassane. When we miss a student, hold the phone.
I just want to say specifically about Michael. He went out to Riverhead Courts. Most of the internships that I secure for the students are within the community. That's what I try to do so that it's not such a trek for them. But Michael went out to Riverhead a couple of times a week for the 8 weeks. So, and he interned with the Honorable Judge Allison Napolitano, and it was quite an experience. And because I have a love for the law, I went up maybe a few extra times to do some site visits and got to sit with him too and, watch the courtroom play out. So, Michael, you will get recognized with your certificate. I apologize that you weren't called up with everyone else at first. Thank you.
Congratulations to all the students. Great job, everybody. Mr. Sane, Mr. Rapone, thank you very much for the program and for leading it.
Very proud. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I will now call Mr. Flynn for a security presentation. And Mr. Labate?
Good evening. Wanted to thank the board and the administration and, of course, Mr. Labate for all his assistance. And I think the timing is good. I'm going to try to go as quickly as possible, but there is a lot of information that's contained within. So let me just jump right into it and globally give you what we will speak about tonight, and probably just as important about things that we will not speak about tonight. We in the K-12 world basically delineate our job into two basic components. And if you sum it up in the New York State Education Department world, items that are contained within the district-wide safety plan, which is on our website. That information is public. It gives a global overview of safety and security initiatives in the district. I'm not going to read it bullet point by bullet point. I'll just leave it up there. And then in the right column is things that would be contained within our building level plans. The building level plans are prepared by the building principals in conjunction with Mr. Labate in a collegial effort. But contained within those are confidential pieces of what we do on a day-to-day basis. So some of those things that we would not discuss in public delve down into specifics in our plans, and that will contain such things as specific deployment of personnel, where they are, how many they may be. And that's because obviously we know, when it's on the left-hand side there, that we keep in mind that those who are prone to commit such violent acts on schools plan to consider about the time looking into it. So I just wanted to put that up front, because when it comes time, if there are any questions, that some things I may not be able to answer specifically for the group. So we have for a very long time in our world, from covert and from the district there, broken down what we do into four basic disciplines in security, in K-12 security. So we look at, when we talk about highly trained personnel, we're not just talking about the security department. We take great pride in whether it be from the superintendent down to security, teachers, custodians, that in a situation where we're all on the same playing field, and security belongs to everybody. So that's why when we talk about highly trained personnel, it belongs to every employee and student in the district. Drills, as I mentioned earlier, to building level and district. And although they've been updated, they continue to be updated throughout the year. We'll make changes based upon the needs. Cutting edge technology. The district has been on the forefront for a very, very long time. And infrastructure pieces. So each one of those, I'll have items to talk about, which I can describe in public. But again, as I said earlier, as many pieces that are behind the scenes. So again, from each of the slides, I'll pick out some things that are important for right now, or just for every day. we take the philosophy here in Connecticut that we're on a heightened state of alert every single day. On the first slide that I put out there, I use this term. It's not paranoia. It's preparedness. We're working. It's a beautiful community, Connecticut, but we have no room for complacency. Conversely, we're also in a place that when these, and I don't want to get one-dimensional in our safety and security, but when things happen, we always take a look. We're taking a look every single day, but no knee-jerk reactions. So we stay the course absent a specific and credible threat to our district, and that's how we operate on a day-to-day basis. More importantly, there is finding the balance, all right, where we want to be. It'd be very easy to design a Rikers Island, but we want to continue to have the warm and welcoming environment that we have, but yet be safe and secure, and be proactive rather than reactive. So for us, or I'll just say from where I sit, I put this up there because usually when people think of security, initially they come to mind, they talk about target hardening and things of that nature. Those are really important, but I think the backbone of our philosophy for a very, very long time, for the better part of 20 years now, I can't believe it when I say that, has been the behavioral threat assessment. And I want to give accolades, Dr. Senimore and Christina Poppy, Joanne Pisani, of putting this at the forefront of our goals this year. We have been a part of this for a very, very long time. There's some of the dates on that. Like I said, first U.S. Secret Service report goes back to 2004 and 2005. It's been instrumental in a lot of incidents that we've dealt with through the years here in Connecticut. But this year, the superintendent and the cabinet have made a concentrated effort on really taking it to the next level and developing formalized trained behavioral threat assessment teams. So I just want to, this was kind of, this came to me probably about 3 o'clock in the morning, but I want to, because over the last several weeks, it's no secret that many schools have been receiving a number of either social media threats. You only need to open up the paper or turn on the news and see what's going on. But one of the questions that we get and I get all the time is this. And for the sake of transparency, I think it's important to understand, for the public to understand, that the police departments take these threats extremely seriously. So the question comes all the time, when we have a threat, hey Don, if it's not credible, if there really is no danger, why are there 4 or 5 police cars outside the building? And how it can look, and some people can read into it, and some of the students, it's alarming. But I think it's a good sign to know that the police, as well as the district, takes all of these things very seriously. We sweep nothing under the rug. Everything is looked at in a manner of determining whether it's credible or not credible. So I'll go through this very, very quickly, but a quick overview of what actually goes into when these take place, and they have been taking place pretty steadily. So an immediate assessment, depending upon the information, immediate notification. Mr. Labate is usually the first to get the call from any of the building administrators on some information that they may have come across. And then depending upon the exigency or the information received, we'll reach out to either an SRO if it's not exigent, or direct to 911 and for their assistance in looking into it. Again, credit to the mental health program in the district, because a huge help and assistance for us and as we're navigating through these potential threats. A risk assessment is done by mental health professionals. First and utmost is to see what kind of help the child may need. And then at that point in time, these are all happening within seconds or minutes. It may be determined by a building principal that we call an annex may have to be put in place, and that could be something such as a lockout, a lockdown, or a hold in place. And again, these things are all transpiring very quickly. Here's where it's important to understand the initial call when it goes out these days, as far as what's happening in the school. Usually the first two cars that, police cars that are in the area are going to respond in two. The SRO will probably pick up the job, so to speak, also. Now, you've got three on the scene just to start out with, and the incident is not even known as to where it is at this point in time. And almost all school-based incident, they're going to call for a supervisor. So before anything has really been said and done, we're dealing with 3 or 4 police cars, and everything could be fine. Usually is fine. And then from there, crime control, which they investigate school-based incidents, can show up on the scene also. Parental guardian notification takes place. Consultation between administration, police, and parents regarding intervention or criminality. Most of these incidents, and I would tell you, I'd be hard pressed to find in the last couple of years when a child has wound up being transported to a police station. It's extremely rare and far between. Most of these things are, in fact, a cry for help, and that goes back to the whole behavioral threat assessment process. Most of these children, and both Nassau and Suffolk and the departments on Long Island advocate for determining whether the child needs assistance, and that may mean transportation to either Stony Brook, CPEP, or in a lot of cases, DASH. They're a very important part of what the process looks like. As we go further down the road, as the child, and the parents may wind up in, being seen either at Stony Brook and/or DASH, cooperation from the parents is most often sought at that period of time, because what we're talking about here is usually involves a threat with a weapon. Consent is asked by the parents to see if there are any weapons in the house or if the weapons are secured, and then extreme risk protection orders may take place if necessary. I just wanted to run through that very quickly because, again, not just because of knee-jerk reaction, but we have had a number of incidents across Long Island, and I've had parents call me and call the security department, call the superintendent. Why? I know the board is aware also. Why are there 3, 4, 5 cars? It's nothing is held back from the community. Try to get the information out as quickly as we get it, and we're able to discern what's actually happening. So fast forward into what does the district currently have in place that we can speak to? And again, I won't go bullet point by bullet point, but we have believed for a very long period of time in multi-layered security systems. And this is an example of what ConnectWhat has in place, has had in place for quite some time, but we continue to look at and assess on a day-to-day basis. Either looking at it as far as scaling up or scaling down, but it's pretty robust, multi-dimensional and multi-layered piece of what we do. Some of the things I'll make mention, most, if not all of our security department, very proud of them. They are active and retired law enforcement, and our security department has, many of them have been with us for many years, and many of them are actually residents of the community, which serves us well. Our command center, which up at the high school, is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The number up there is a tip line. It's a I'm going to relate to that later at the end. Non-911 related emergencies. Mass notification, which I'll get into in a little bit. Interior and exterior strobe lights, and the video surveillance. We partner with the Suffolk County Police Department, their real-time crime center, for access to our video surveillance only in emergency situations. Again, it continues as to what's in place: exterior video intercoms, visitor management systems, security vestibules. Again, I got to thank the superintendent from day one being here, supporting and advocating for doors being in the closed and locked position. It's been a tremendous help. And then, as I mentioned on the bottom there is, as much as you saw on those layers there, there is equal or more behind the scenes in the covert world of what we do that we do not put out to the general public. Mass communication. I know this has come to the forefront. It was brought up after a number of incidents. It's brought up most recently spoken about out of Georgia. the last shooting down there. And I tell you, we are no stranger. We have one of the first districts on Long Island going back many years ago to implement a digital radio repeater system. Well, why is that so important? We have the ability to communicate with our buses who travel distances. So that was an initiative that it was a cost-saving initiative, initial layout, but has paid itself back tremendously. Bob has been very helpful, and as much as we can get our hands on radios these days, the district has been very proactive in allowing that to happen. The Save Hotlines, which is a direct active shooter hotline right to Suffolk County PD, is in place in all of the building. The RAVE app, which Adam oversees and has done training sessions at each of the faculty meetings in the district. We continue to push for participation in the RAVE app. And again, we talk about redundancy. The RAVE app and the Save Hotline and a couple of other things I'll speak about. Alyssa's Law compliant, which is Alyssa's Law, which mandated, having direct contact to the local police department. We have several layers of redundancy. Genetech, which is our video management system. I got to give credit to Victor Zambrano, who oversees a large part of this. He's a very bright individual, and we continue to push the envelope on this. And rather than have to go out and buy new platforms and things of that nature, continue to integrate. I mentioned the SHARE program, which is the direct connect to this real-time crime center. And something that I will put out there that many people don't know, but it is public to staff, unusual in that every staff member can call 911 direct from their classroom. And then taking it a step further. And these things have been in place. They weren't in reaction to or a knee-jerk reaction. These conversations took place over several years. Ms. Poppy was a huge part of making a lot of this happen in some creative ways. But we continue to look at what next steps. But so in Connecticut, our philosophy has been for a very long time that anybody can put an annex in place. There are still districts these days that refuse to go down that road, but we have empowered every one of our staff members in the district. It doesn't matter, again, whether you're head of security or your superintendent or whoever you are. We've empowered every one of our staff members in the district to be able to do so. So we used to be able to say that years ago, and the question would come back, okay, we're empowered to do so, but we don't have the ability. So we made sure by several different manners that we were able to put that in play. Adam also sees on the bottom there, the security department we have a standalone platform used for scheduling and confidential information, and he oversees a news feed where we're able to share real-time information in the event that it becomes necessary. So there's a series of redundancy in our mass communication and immediate notification. So. I talked about this up top is our command center here. Again, it's been extremely helpful through the years in helping us again navigate through incidents 24/7, and again continue to take us to the next level. I don't know if okay. So if you see what's happening now, there's no audio right now, but if you see which is this strobe light right above. You see it in the middle there. That's that sign right up top here. Every classroom in the district, and again, Ms. Poppy oversaw a lot of this. Talk about instant notification to every staff and student in the Connecticut School District. There's one of those LED signs in every classroom, every large group instruction area, and possibly many other places that you couldn't even imagine. It continues to be ongoing, but the audio is not there right now. But when it flashes, there is an audio that's lockdown, and it repeats itself. And again, I don't know another district on Long Island at this point in time. Many are still looking that have given that ability. Many say, "Oh, the building principal can do it. Oh, the assistant principal can do it. Oh, security can do it." We've made sure that every staff member and every teacher in every classroom has the ability to do that. And I won't get granular in as to how that's done, but it's done right very close to where they teach.
Not to interrupt, but you said it actually says lock out or lock down, like it vocally, not just the sirens. Oh, that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. That's okay. I think we were having. Some audio issues. But it says it across, like it scrolls it across.
The audio says lockdown.
That's pretty cool. Thank you.
Just some of the ongoing initiatives, and I'll just point out a very few. It was 2 years ago, I believe, and we were scheduling a new one coming up. We sat in this room here with about 40 or 50 of our local first responders, conducted a large-scale tabletop exercise, and which was extremely instrumental in working through some logistics, both with fire department and police department. Another thing, you'll be hard pressed in every classroom. The district has had an initiative here for many years. We weren't shy about talking about Stop the Bleed. It just doesn't have to be, in that 1 in a million scenario. But we have Stop the Bleed kits in every classroom. I think at Superintendent's Conference Day, which the superintendent put together, I'd acknowledge one of the teachers over in Sycamore. A lot of time and effort goes into the staff members in putting their classrooms together, yet making them welcoming, a welcoming environment, but yet also talking about safety and security. So the district has taken a step to make sure, and Adam coordinates that program also. Another thing, which is we've talked about this with our district-wide safety committee meeting, which I know some of the board members participate in. Both Marisol and Jackie, thank you for being a part of for many years. Jackie's been part of for many years. Jill Connors, who Adam routinely mentions, and she'll be with us Thursday. We have another district-wide safety committee meeting. Talk about Jill comes to us bringing some information on special needs population, which is an important part of our building level plans, because even though, and that was something that came into the audio and visual pieces here of the mass notification. So all of those are taken into account, special needs, when we plan ahead. This, as far as reunification and recovery, was a big part of our tabletop exercise. Adam and I call it the best plan that we never want to have to use, but needless to say, a lot of time, effort, and detail has gone into with all of the building administrators from actually being boots on the ground and walking. We don't talk about where that reunification plan, but the superintendent has, in the moment, being the district's public information officer, would make sure that information is out to the public, hopefully never needed. But a lot of time and effort has been put into that. So that's one thing I'm extremely proud of out of everything we do, because it's few and far between in too many districts. So I'll just put them up there. We think outside the box in a lot of the things we do. These are just some of the ongoing training, and again, credit to the ConnectQuad security staff. We were just with them, Adam, what was it, August 29th or 30th? We spent the 30th, we spent the better part of 4 hours. We'll be getting together again in a couple of months to revisit how the first part of the year went, but 4-hour training on some of these topics that are in here. And again, credit to the district again. I'll just tell you that Dr. Senwell was very helpful, and John Allen, in providing us over the summer. We did some tactical training in some of the buildings, both with our perimeter people and also our ConnectQuad security staff. This year, another item we'll be revisiting and talking about this again. This year, it was. I think it was the district was not shy about going forward. There was some conversation going back and forth. This was an awareness program. Again, credit, a lot of districts would shy away from this. This was an awareness program, AED, CPR, and Stop the Bleed. Yes, for middle school kids. Middle school children had a lot of great questions. And, and so to have, we did, better part of 2,500 students come out of every phys ed class. So I give Pete Mallory and his staff a lot of credit for putting it together. But just to have them walk out of the gym and then actually take notice of an AED that's in the hallway puts us at a lot better situation. So we had some of the staff come in and just do an awareness program on those topics, and I think it went fairly well. From our, we talk about training with the security staff, but both Adam and I and his colleagues from our end, we can never be done ourselves. So for that, we make sure we travel around, not just Long Island, not just around the state, but around the country to actually interact and talk about what's happening out there and best practices. We're proud to say ISC East and ISC West, which is where they release the most cutting edge technology initiatives. So we're taking it upon ourselves, and Mr. Labate was good enough to go out to Las Vegas and look into a lot of good, good mass communication pieces and video surveillance platforms to make sure that we bring back the latest and the greatest to Connect One. Just real quick, some of our training staff, some of the people who work on our team, my team, as far as making sure, as I said earlier, going around and training, but making sure we have the certification so that we can work hand in hand with the security department. So just a little bit of what we do on our end. I kind of hesitate to put this up there, but I just want to acknowledge that the tactical training that we take extremely serious, that was done multiple times in our buildings, empty buildings over the summer, and that's why I got to thank John, because he made sure that we completely cleaned house and that there was nobody in the buildings when we conducted these. But these help us plan, practice, and train in our buildings. Just some of the things that also when we need some assistance, and last night we needed a few of these things to be utilized last night. So put up some of the drones, and so some of these things help us on a substantial size of the high school property to get around and establish large-scale events, a command center, the ATVs and that nature. And again, we don't do things in a vacuum. These are some of the who we work with. Routinely during the year, CISA, which is a very good organization. We have a number of our instructors on our end who will be part of a CISA webinar tomorrow on best practices in response. TEACS was a national tabletop exercise that we did with Texas A&M. So again, we continue to work and try to bring back whatever we can to take us to the next level with still keeping that balance. So, that being said, I don't know if there's any questions.
Does anybody have any questions? I just wanted to thank you and your team for everything that you do for our students and our staff and the community at large. You guys are great, and I am very safe. I feel safe dropping my children off at school, my own children. So thank you.
First of all, you do an amazing presentation. So amazing that I'm getting messages and I'm ignoring them right now. I'll get back to them later. From other board members from other districts that are watching us right now. And they said, that is an incredible security presentation. Incredible.
And listen, this is the community here, and I know this can be, whoever has sat, the community here has been extremely supportive for forever. And, we have our differences, but when it comes to this particular topic, it's important. So I appreciate it. I just had some emails going back and forth and I know fiscal, Bob handles the fiscal. We try to do things fiscally responsible, but yet, I do understand. But, when we talk about initiatives that we do, and I see in other places, where it's not taken into account. But again, we try to find a balance. So it means a lot.
Listen, after 25 years in law enforcement, what I can say professionally, I learn so much from you. When I go to the emergency management meetings, I'm still learning. I'm still learning from you. No, you are an expert. I tip my hat to you guys. You guys do an incredible job, all of you. And I appreciate what you guys bring back to the district. I'm looking forward to going to the national conference this year in October. And one of their head pieces for each day, they're doing all sorts of security stuff. So I know that I'm going to dip into those classes to check on it. But I will tell you that I am sure that whatever they're teaching, you already know. And I know because I know you will never admit it, but you are highly sought after, and I'm so glad Connecticut has you. I really am. You and Adam, exceptional team. Thank you for being here tonight, and all you guys do.
Anybody else? Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Flynn, Mr. Labate, thank you.
So I'm just going to take a moment to piggyback. I think the word team came up, and that's a critical component, because when you talk about safety and security, it really is a team approach. We have the experts like Don and Adam and our various security personnel, but you got all staff of all types, from our admin to our instructional to all of our support staff, who I like to call our unsung heroes. You have our community at large, who, when we put out various protocols and expectations, for conduct and cooperation, collaboration, they're on board. And I know I'm very biased, but the absolute most amazing student population that any superintendent could want. Everybody plays such a key role. It's a team approach here in Connecticut. It's a family approach to making our learning environment conducive to just that, teaching and learning and safety. We want our students, staff, parents, families, and community at large to always feel assured that we're doing everything possible. It is about preparation. It is about planning. It is about constant review and where necessary revision. I like the point that came up that we don't get complacent. Just like when we talk about learning and instructional goals and the growth of our students, we don't get complacent there. Absolutely a critical philosophy when it comes to the safety and security. And we absolutely strike a balance. These are schools. We want our schools to be warm and inviting, a home away from home for our students, a place our staff feel great to come to work, and our parents and families come to see the various activities. So we certainly strike that balance while we have all the systems in place. And again, multifaceted, because it's about prevention and then trying to get early intervention. The mental health component, as we know, critical. And it's something here in this district that this board, other boards, this community has invested well in and supported the mental health and intervention of our staff. So thank you, Don and Adam, for an outstanding presentation. And thank you to Connecticut at large for all that everyone does in this wonderful team approach to safety and security.
Thank you. I will now open the floor for the first open public comment portion of the agenda. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping to the podium. You should have received a number card from security on your way in. If you have not, please see a security guard in the back of the room. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president. All comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to school matters only. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. The use of foul language and threatening comments will not be tolerated, and the board will consider a recess until order is restored. In accordance with Policy 1230, public comment will not exceed 30 minutes. If there are additional persons wishing to speak, the board may consider a motion to extend the time. Number 1.
Hi, good evening. My name is Linda Rapp. I'm here to ask the board if any way we can get approved. I am with St. John's CYO basketball, and we also do Connecticut Youth Flag football. We're here to ask if we can have Friday night under the lights at the field, on the turf field, the lower turf field. We're asking probably like 3.5 hours with bathrooms. We are willing to pay for it. For the past 3 years, we had to go to St. Joseph's College because, every time we asked, we got turned down. No, you can't use the field. No, you can't use the lights. No, you can't use the bathrooms. We have the money. Our kids, well, mostly it's girls from K through 9. We have all the different divisions. We have boys and girls because the boys stop at a certain age for flag. So we took them along and they play with the boys because the parents don't want them to play tackle. So we have them in our organization. So I'm just here to ask and plead if we can get approved to have the lights put on with the bathrooms for November 15th we're looking at, from 6:30 to 9:30, or, if you wanted to shorten it up a little bit. And just to play a couple of games, do trophies, and have the little ones experience the nightlife. We call it Friday Night Lights. So they are Connecticut,
Thank you. I will push this over to our superintendent and business personnel, but we do have a policy that we abide to, and then we will look it over and get back to your organization. If you want to leave your number and your name with our district clerk pro temp, and we can get back to you.
Okay, yes.
I just have one question.
Yeah.
It's only one night, one day you want, one night?
We're asking right now for one night, November 15th, that's all. Just so the kids can come out, the little ones can play on the turf field under the lights. I did also put a building use form for Sundays. We have a permit for Sundays. We got the permit from 2 to 8, didn't realize light, and we lost a couple of games because of that. So I did put a revised looking for lights on Sunday for about 2 hours and bathrooms. And we're willing to pay. We're willing to pay to get this off the ground. And it's only going to benefit the girls later on.
You
through high
said for
school.
one night for now. Is that what you just said?
Well, one night for November 15th is what I'm really looking for. But if I can also get lights till November 10th, that would be good too, on Sundays. We play on Sundays from 2 to 8. We got the building use form to use the turf field, the lower turf.
We could definitely go over our policy and the contract we
Yeah.
have, and we'll get back to you.
Chrissy Simicic had sent a letter out. Mr. Hauser knows about it. We met last night. We met briefly with you, and you and John had to leave quickly. So, anything you can do, we greatly appreciate
If you
it.
could leave your name and number with our
Yeah.
Ms. Cirillo?
Okay.
Thank
Got it.
you.
Thank you.
Number 2? All right, we will have another public comment portion later on in the evening. Student government update. Oh, you are number 3. Come on up. Thank you. Sorry. I didn't realize number 2 left us.
I was really happy to hear Dr. C say that he wants a safe school for all kids. 2 weeks ago, News 12 had a report about LGBTQ kids on Long Island, and I wanted you to hear the statistics. They reported that 9 out of 10 LGBTQ kids hear anti-LGBTQ remarks every single day at school. 30 to 40% of LGBTQ kids are harassed, whether it's physically or verbally, in school every single day. That's why New York State Ed created these guidelines. And I'm holding it up almost like a Bible at every meeting because it's that important to me. And at last meeting, everybody was talking about phones. And some of your own words resonated with me because I'd love them to be applied to LGBTQ kids. A board member said students have different needs and they need to be met. Another board member says not one size fits all. Although you were talking about policies for phones, I would like to see that logic extend to policies for LGBTQ kids. I know, I hear it. I know you love you love kids. I just want LGBTQ kids to be included in that umbrella. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. And those statistics really do make me sad. Number 4. 5. Okay. Now, student government.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Thomas Rakowski. I'm from student government. I came to give you guys a brief overview of what's been happening in our school the past couple weeks. I'm going to start with the following events that we recently have that had a great turnout. Great turnouts were homecoming, our homecoming parade, and pep rally. Those were all really good turnouts. The only thing that we saw different from last year's was the attendance. Due to it being on a Saturday, we believe that the attendance was decreased because if it was on a Friday night, students would be able to just stay after school and enjoy the game and the parade. But because it was on a Saturday, students had to find a ride back up to the school to be able to enjoy the festivities for homecoming. If you missed the game, it was a great win by Connecticut, taking home the oar for an end result of 21-14.
We want to thank all of our classes of our grade levels for everyone's hard work. We want to thank everyone who volunteered their time, supplies, and effort. You are greatly appreciated, and they truly made homecoming this year really special.
The results are in from the float building, and we want to congratulate the senior class and their Willy Wonka float for their win. Next, our food drive is going to start on October 26th, and we are kicking that off with Safe Halloween. Safe Halloween will be held on October 26th from 12 to 2. It is $5 and a non-perishable item for our food drive per child. For anyone interested in volunteering for Safe Halloween, our student government meeting will be held on October 10th. More information to come out soon.
Many clubs have had their first meetings already. If they haven't, they will soon receive information about any club. Yeah.
The senior trip paperwork has officially been sent out. You can either access the paperwork online or in Mr. Sidman's office. The seniors are going to Villa Roma from February 2nd to 4th. And that's it. Any questions?
It is $575. Bye.
Do you guys have the date for the senior trip meeting? There's a meeting, right?
Meeting, we're not sure yet. I think there's going to be more information coming out soon.
Perfect.
I don't know why December 17th is sticking out, but don't quote me on that.
You guys are
I
awesome.
will talk to someone and get back.
Thank you for the update, guys.
And they have a great job with your guys' skit, the seniors, and really all the kids. They did a phenomenal job. It's one of my favorite portions of homecoming parade is when you all come back. And I actually pulled some of the moms with me and said, come check this out. A lot of them didn't even know that you guys do that. So for next year, so everybody knows, come out and watch because we get a big crowd, but it'd be even nice to get bigger and bigger. I used to like when you guys did it right on the track too, because that was fun because the people in the stands got to see it. Yeah. But it's just,
Oh, the first graduating Connecticut grads of class of 1964 were at homecoming this weekend, and that was amazing to have them participate with us.
a few of them came up to me as I was walking up to you guys when I first got there. Yes, you were awesome. Thank you guys.
Wait, I didn't get a donut? No, I'm just kidding.
I normally say no, but it was one of those days. But I have to tell you, thank you very much. And I was walking up and they stopped me, a couple of the 1964 grads, and they said to me, when did you graduate? And I said 1996. And they said to me, they said, oh, you could be our child. And I said, yes, I understand that. I said, because one of the men was so nice. He says, my daughter's 47. I said, yeah, she graduated probably a year before me. But they were so nice. They were going back and forth. It was very nice to see. I hope we see that each year.
I just wanted to point out that the class of 64 was invited the first class, but the class of 74 did the tour of our building. And they went inside, did the tour, came outside, and also joined and spoke to many of the community members, which was very, very nice.
But it was 74 that actually stopped me when they were walking. Really, very cool thing to do.
Yeah, it was super fun. Thank you, and congratulations on the flute. We have PTA council rep.
Hello, I'm Melinda Monahan, the Council PTA's president for the Connecticut School District. The Connecticut is the council is the governing body that oversees all the PTAs in the district. Connecticut PTA has been a staple in this community for many years, and with your help, we will continue with our mission of every child, one voice for many years to come. The PTA's mission is to make every child's potential a reality by engaging and empowering families and communities to advocate for all children. PTA believes that together we can make every child's potential a reality, but we need more believers like you. As you all know, being a member is a very important part of helping a PTA. The money collected helps the students, programs, and advocacy. Many people think that they need to volunteer for events. If you want to volunteer, that's great. You could use the help, but you don't need to volunteer. Your support as a member is enough. A $10 membership fee would be a tremendous support to benefit our children. This membership has to be renewed every year. Students can also join by getting a membership for $6. We have a PTA in each elementary school, middle school, high school, and even a special education PTA, which is called SEPTA. Each unit deserves the attention of the parents and families of the district. We all live in an amazing community and should support each other the best we can. If you become a member of your local PTA, please look at your calendar and try to attend one of your PTA meetings. You can help be a voice for the students. In the upcoming months, we'll give you updates on events. We do a big council event sometime this year. And I'd just like to thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and sharing.
I want to just thank you and all the PTA parents, everybody that joins, because you are all volunteers. You all, give your time. So, want to put that out there. All of our PTAs, our 10 buildings, our SEPTA, everything that you do, it is very much appreciated. Thank you so much, because really there's some fantastic things that you all do. And I love all your spirit wear. It's fantastic. I love it. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you. We have our superintendent update, Dr. Senamore.
Well, thank you. There's so much wonderful to talk about, the things happening in our district. I'd like to piggyback our PTA council. I do try as often as possible, even in my videos, to reinforce the vital role all of our parent organizations play. Education is a partnership, so our PTA council, all the building PTAs, our SEPTA, our various boosters, ARBA, our music and art boosters, our athletic boosters. At the homecoming this weekend, I had a wonderful hot dog and fries, which were absolutely fabulous. The work that they put in for an event like that. And then our other organizations, we have 3 robust civics and we have Rotary. It's just, I can't say it enough. The volunteerism, the appreciation, the give back to our kids, staff, and community from all of our volunteers. So thank you, PTA Council, for speaking tonight, and thank you to all of our parent and community organizations. With full sincerity, we appreciate everybody, and it makes a big difference. Earlier tonight, Mr. Poe, Mr. Kassane, they presented on our student interns. It's just another thing that this district is committed to, preparing our students for the future. How do you do that? One way is to provide them with real life opportunities and exposure to career paths. So the internship program is wonderful. We thank everyone involved, and we appreciate the support from our parents as well to encourage our students to go out there and try these various avenues. Some very exciting news. One of our students at the high school, senior Alexander DeVita, has been named a National Merit Scholarship semifinalist, and we're just ecstatic over that. Just some details about this. There are and obviously we're a very big nation, 16,000 semifinalists nationwide out of 1.3 million eligible students. Selection is based off of the PSAT results from the junior year. He did earn a perfect score on his SAT in August. Semifinalists are eligible to advance for National Merit Scholarship. That application process will now move forward, and the finalists will be announced in February. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, and we're wishing Alex the very best of luck. We are all very, very proud. A wonderful academic accomplishment for Alex, and certainly a source of pride for our entire community. Our student government representatives gave a fabulous update, really a really fabulous update. The pep rally was wonderful. Homecoming was amazing. It was my first parade because unfortunately the weather, we didn't have a parade last year. The parade was great. And great to see all the various organizations and groups that were marching. Our marching band is always fabulous as well. You mentioned the big win for our football team. Our boys volleyball team were also playing at that time. They had a big win as well. All of our athletic programs are doing a really great job this year. I mentioned the marching band, but key components of them as well: kick line, flag line. And what's great is that they're not only marching the parade and perform at halftime, but they're also in the stands, supporting our players. It's great to see that mutual respect, two ways between our athletic program and our music program. Cheerleaders of all levels and ages, great job. A really nice touch with homecoming. I have to thank Ms. Neckin and Mr. Mallory for the outstanding displays of patriotism as the district honored first responders and military personnel. Really, obviously, in September, as we recently acknowledged September 11th, that was a really wonderful touch, and the players carrying the flags, it was just beautiful. Big thank you, because a lot of work, and I'm sure I'm going to miss somebody, so thank you to everybody. A lot of work goes into planning an event as big as homecoming weekend, including with the pep rally. Student government, we have some representatives here today, class advisors, all the staff that are involved at every level, from admins to the teaching staff, support staff, chaperones, our grounds, custodial, our security personnel, you name it, just tremendous. And it was a great day because our students, you behaved beautifully. Your spirit was overwhelming. Our parents and community who came out. We talked about alumni from 1964, 1974. That's what a homecoming is all about, bringing our community together and having a good time. Yes, it was an exciting win. It was, for both teams that day, but it was about community and about coming together, and everybody just did a great job. Very, very proud of everyone. It just added to what has been a great kickoff, to our school year. The weekend prior was a very successful community wellness day in collaboration with the public library, but I'm not going to go into any further detail. I'm going to let one of my board members kind of talk more about that, but that was an awesome day as well, and a lot of great collaboration with community partners. Last night, Ronkonkoma Middle School had their National Honor Society induction. Congratulations to all of the members and the new inductees. And now we're going to be going into a plethora of additional Honor Society inductions as we move forward, including various departments and Tri-M. Another way that we celebrate the academic accomplishments of our students. We had 9 of our 10 schools had their open houses. We have one more to go tomorrow at Duckfield. They've all been very well attended. Thank you to our parents for coming out and supporting this partnership, and of course our staff and administration. This Thursday is the high school college fair. We do partner with Sable this year. We're hosting it. It's Thursday evening. If you can make it, it's a great resource, and we appreciate our counseling department and all the work that goes into the planning of that event. Last week, I was able to attend, along with Miss Poppy and Miss Yanni Cola, the Blue Ribbon Commission on New York State graduation measures. It was an ambassador. They call it an ambassador session with educators and educational leaders, because the state is looking at, and now they're in what's called kind of like the phase 4 of looking at proposed graduation measures changes. And there are 4 areas that they're kind of focused on. One is called the the New York State portrait of a graduate. You know, a lot of schools, high schools will have their own version of a portrait of a graduate. Well, now New York State wants to adopt the New York State portrait of a graduate, and that'll kind of be a driving guideline. They want to redefine credits and expand learning experiences. They want to sunset the current diploma assessment requirements, and they want to move to one diploma instead of having the local, the regions, the advanced regions. But even though there'll be one diploma, they'll have various seals and pathways, you know, which would incorporate the advanced diploma through that kind of designation. The key will be the details, and we don't have details. And that's why this type of ambassador session to get our feedback, these sessions are being held across the state, are very important, because it gave us, as practitioners in the field, it gave us an opportunity to raise questions. You know, as the state looks to now provide those details, you know, the questions are ranging from what's going to be the timeline of implementation? In other words, what grade level are we going to start with, and you know, and what graduation year? You know, they're talking about providing a lot of local flexibility. That does sound great. You know, we talk often about various state mandates, and we wish they would just give us more local control. You know, the devil will be in the detail with this in terms of, you know, how exactly will rigor be measured? What will this look like from one school district to another? Certainly, anything that they're going to kind of give us control over, will there be a financial component? Will there be a new financial burden? You know, and what was interesting, you've heard me speak a lot since last year about school finance and about state aid. It was nice to hear that I'm not the only person out there talking about this, because the state tends to have a lot of initiatives at once, but they're done in silos. And it was nice to hear from other colleagues throughout, certainly the county, not the island, about, hey, you know, giving us more local control is great. You know, in terms of assessing students, we know that a Regents exam is not for everyone. You know, taking a high stakes exam, but the details are important, and the financial impact is really, really important. So we're supposed to hear in about 2 months more detail, especially the rollout timeline and other affected regulations. Ms. Poppy, did I miss anything that was robust? Maybe not so succinct, but it was robust. So listen, we're excited, but we just want to be kind of, you know, measured as we await more detail. And of course, when we have that detail, then we'll be huddling up with our high school administration, our departmental directors, and providing updates accordingly. So, thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to add to your Thursday night Connecticut College night that we're hosting with Sayville. On Monday is the high school is hosting a financial aid night. So that goes hand in hand with the college. So for any parents that would like to attend, financial aid night is at 7 p.m. Monday the 30th at the high school. Board of Ed committee reports. I know I have the food update, but if anybody wants to start with their committees. No, we haven't gone to any. So Jackie and I went to the food committee, food service and nutrition committee, and we discussed the options for the food that the kids get and why they get how much they get. So we're going to actually put on our website the picture of how much we have to give from the state on what they can get and the portion size of everything that they can get. So that will be on our website under the food service tab. And also, we're looking to have chef days at all of our schools. The goal is to have 5 in each building. So look out for those. Chef days are coming. And I know there's been a request for halal and kosher food in our schools. So I just want everybody to know that we do have a menu that is halal and kosher friendly. So if your child or if you as a staff member need halal or kosher, just please ask one of the food service workers and they will be happy to help you. Do you want to add anything?
No, I think you covered, basically everything that we talked about in there, the different menus. We looked into the menus and talked a little bit about some options. And I think it's important to have that information on the website because, we have talked about the fact that some of the kids are also, they are big eaters and they're getting not a lot of food. We also discussed that and the fact that they are limited based on that other chart that they had given us. And, just trying to advocate for bigger portion sizes, just more for the kids, which I'd be willing to do again because, my son is taller than me now in high school and that's not enough food for him. So I would be willing to do that, another letter to advocate so that they can get more food. These kids are leaving there starving, so.
Because the only way we can actually increase their portion size is to advocate New York State because we are mandated and required to give a certain portion size. I mean, kids can buy more food, but we can't, as the first portion, give them more food.
Yeah, because they can get more portions. They're allowed one free breakfast, one free lunch per day. If they want more, if there's an a la carte menu, they can actually buy more. But, they shouldn't have to buy more if they're starving.
Last year, I thought it was a great idea. When we advocated through the letter, I would be absolutely for that.
So if the board would like Mr. Hauser and myself, we could look at last year's letter and we could draft a new letter for the board's consideration.
Yeah, sure.
I have an issue with that these committee reports that we're doing. I didn't even know that there was a committee meeting tomorrow. I wasn't even advised of some of these dates. I did know, I do have the emergency management because that was given to me months ago. But health and safety, Jackie just said that they sent it to her.
And
I think I'm the first one. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think I'm on the health and safety as the primary, and I think she's an alternate. I'm a primary on the emergency management, and they give out the dates. I've had those in my calendar for months. I have no issue with when I can't make it, letting the alternate know, but only finding out today. I won't be able to make tomorrow morning, I'm working, but it would be nice if we had more time than if she got an email today.
No, I had gotten the
There
email,
may have-
and I actually, looking at the email, because I had gotten it, I said, oh, I must be on that committee. I happened to just say, let me just double check our committees, and it's the wrong Jackie. So, yeah, it's
There might have been a lag in our personnel between our district clerk leaving and the pro temp coming in.
That's what
So
I'm thinking.
we can iron out these kinks.
No, that's fine. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I have communication down tonight as one of for various reasons, not just this. She just actually pointed it out to me and I said, here you go. This is another. I just feel like the communication this year has been tough for like the parents, the community. We need more clear, concise communication across districts for several reasons. But that just if we can with those kind of meetings, because John, I really like to be at them. But there's no way I can, as it is, my boss is like, you're leaving work early for everything for Board of Ed.
I'm wondering if perhaps, and I'm only thinking of this because now that we're all on the Gmail, like we moved everything over, on that calendar, if it's possible that all of these meetings could be put on there and that calendar can be shared to all of the trustees, just so we all know, and just in there, who's going to that meeting, just so we have it, so we know what meetings are coming up. Maybe that's something we can consider doing, putting everything on that one calendar. And that calendar gets shared to us, and we open up our calendars and we see all that information.
Like, I don't know when you guys have committee meetings, like we're learning now. I would like to know that you guys were at a committee meeting. Thursday, we know it's the emergency management. We'll be there. If you can't be there, I can't be there, then the alternate goes. That's another thing. The board has to have better communication, more effective communication in regards to, last year we had issues with this. If you are not going to make a committee meeting, there's no problem with it. Let the alternate know, because it's disrespectful to not let them know. I mean, granted, if it's an emergency, that's fine, but it can't be an emergency every single month. If you can't make it, it's fine, but let the alternate know. That's why we have alternates.
Yeah, and we'll try to iron out the who's on what committee and try to get the dates out on the calendars. So we have Board of Ed topics, Community Wellness Day, Ms. DiLorenzo.
I've been waiting to talk about this because it is one of my favorite events that we do. We've done it now the second year in a row. And what a success. And I thank you, Dr. Senamore, for kind of sending this down the table to me to talk about, because I am so proud of this entire community. We had over 500 people at the library between the outside and the inside. And some of those vendors that we had fitness, nutrition, Connect Cares was there. We had a licensed mental health care worker, practitioner. We had Dragon Gate, Shed the Meds, the police were there, the fire department. And of course, it was hosted with Yes and Islip Goes Purple. They were there. We had sports, PTA, council, had table. I mean, just about anything you could think of, fun things. And even Melissa was there with her job. She had a table. And Jackie, thank you for coming and visiting. I mean, it was such an event. And, Mrs. Poppy came to visit. And what a success from all areas there. The tables were packed. The kids were having fun. And in our rooms, we had Kaboom Kids, Dragon Gate on one end of the library. The other end, it was where it was more quiet. On the adult side, we had mindful yoga sessions, painting sessions where they did a beautiful, I think a lotus flower. And then there was Zumba in the parking lot. And we had a visit from not just one T-bird, but 2 T-birds. It was really, really wonderful. And they were dancing in the parking lot. I don't know how. They were probably sweating. But it was such an incredible event. And thank you to the community and the tremendous collaboration between the library, our library director, and Dr. Senamore for collaborating on this. And a thanks to the library staff that helped out. The head of Children's Services was there as the friendly face right when you walk in, that familiar face right when you walk in, helping to direct everybody. The maintenance at the library, one guy running around helping us. And then, of course, there was a grounds crew of Connect there bringing tables, setting up here in the parking lot. They were a part of this. And, of course, the students that were there, they were fantastic, dressing up as a strawberry. They were part of it. Everywhere we needed them, they were such a huge help. And, of course, the Mental Health Advisory Council, the Community Wellness Day Planning Committee, which was under Mrs. Pisani, and we had social workers, teachers, parent, and what an incredible group of people to work with. It was so much fun. We loved just going to our meetings and talking about this, planning all summer. They worked very hard on this. Lovely, lovely group of people to work with. It was really a wonderful event, and it brought together one of the best things. Not only did we provide just unbelievable information to the public that they can visit any vendor table and get whatever information they needed, but the unity. Everybody, all walks of life was in that library. Everybody was happy. It was a wonderful event to see people coming and going all day. Beautiful day. We weren't sure people were going to try to get one more beach day in, but they were here. And I want to thank the community and everybody that helped to make this event happen. And I can't wait for next year. Next year, we got to try for 600 people. We're 100 more than last year. Let's make it even bigger. So thank you all so much.
So I have to piggyback you and say thank you to you, because Jackie doesn't give herself enough credit. Part of the planning committee, the community, what was it, community planning?
Yeah, the Community Wellness
Wellness Day Planning Committee. They did an incredible job. What she's not telling you is that she was a huge part of it. And thank you for that. Thank you for loaning me your daughter to take around. I had a ball.
And she had a blast with you.
I had a blast taking a little one around again. When you have 2 teenagers, it's just not the same. I'm sorry. And it was so much fun. Thank you, Melissa, for being there and helping out with your table. It was such a lovely event. It is so nice to see Connect and the Connect Library working together. I loved going table to table. I loved everything that they had. It was very nice seeing so many people there. I loved getting pictures with both T-birds. But what I will say, I actually posted them today. What I will say is the only thing I'm going to advocate for, and I am, is I would like to see in the future, I would like to see one done at the library and one done at the high school. We now have a beautiful high school where we have the hallways, we have so many options and opportunities to showcase and work with the library. And I really do feel if it was at the high school, you might see also older students show up and more community members. It would be very nice to move it there. I know years ago we did more there, and I feel like we're moving it into the parking lot of CO and the parking lot of the library. It's grown very large. I think you would do better off if you used the hallways of the high school. And we've done that with other items and other events, and it was beautifully, shown. It was so great having so much attending of our students. I would rather have that in the future. Not to say don't do it at the library, but there's normally two.
The high school had something they had. Yeah,
I would like to see
a
second
lot
one
of
in the spring, maybe?
activities. Go ahead.
Typically, that takes place in May, and we do have a highlight in every building. The high schools traditionally has
I just went to it.
a bit larger. Yes,
Yeah,
it feels
and
almost
that's
as if it
in
were
the gyms.
yesterday.
I went
Correct.
to the gyms and that's beautiful, but what
You're
I'm
talking
saying,
about moving this
I
particular
would like
event.
to see an event like this grow even more. They're doing an incredible job, but it's going to start outgrowing its space. So I have no issue with taking it. I'm not saying take it away from doing it at the library. I'm saying it's so nice and well attended. We should look to do this twice a year, and once it should be at the high school for all of our students across district, because the high school is big enough to have people in all the hallways like we do for literacy nights and all those, and then also utilize the gyms. It's a very big event. It was a very big event. I mean, there was things all over the place. I would just like to see the high school open its doors for something like that, that also is good for our little guys and, for all of the elementary and the middle schoolers as well.
I like the idea of moving it to the high school. I just think that doing something at this scale twice a year might be a lot of work. It's a big undertaking to do it twice. But hey, I mean, where there's a will, there's a way, right? But I like the idea of moving it to the high school.
So we do capture all of the high school students by having that springtime event during the school day, right? So it opens up that opportunity, less draw for a community member per se who'd like to participate also. So I think we are talking about an overlapping of audience, but also the incorporation of a different dimension of audience, as well as our younger students who have events inside of their schools, but
Right.
you're talking about whole participation.
Our younger students don't have that kind of participation, I apologize. I've gone to them, as you know, I've gone to all of them at some point. I've been to all the elementaries, I've been to the middle schools, I've been to the high school. I go to the high school one every year. And actually I think I've gone to the middle school, at least one of them. And I do go to whatever ones I can in elementary each year. I try to switch it up. But the reality is, this was a much larger scale of what the high school does, but a much larger scale. And it was amazing. The amount of things that they had available. What I'm saying is, I think you'd get more attendance if we had it where it was great, don't get me wrong, and I love our public library. We are very fortunate to have such a beautiful public library. I went in it the other day. I can't believe the amount of work they're doing. The amount of work they're doing, it is amazing. It's amazing. I haven't been in there in a while, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe how much has changed. But what I'm saying to you is, I think it would be nice to work with the public library, but at times do it on the school side. It's great to have it at the library, but it's also great to invite the library into our schools.
We absolutely treasure our relationship with the Connecticut Public Library, and that's something we can certainly look at for the springtime, maybe broadening it out and, moving or encompassing an extra location for an event like this.
Or if even if it's every other year, once at the library, once at the high school, move it back and forth. I just think it would be nice to try it and see, being that it got so big. It did get so big. That room is not as big as it used to be when there's so much in there now. But everything was just, it was amazing what they had for the kids. Amazing.
Thank you. Peer mentoring electives, Ms. Iannatelli.
Before I speak about that topic, I just want to speak quickly about back to school night that I attended at the high school last week. I cannot speak enough about the enthusiasm that these teachers had. They were so enthusiastic about helping our students and just the different programs and the things that they were going to learn, that to see that much passion coming from them, just sitting there for the 10 minutes, I can't say enough how excited I was to see that and the excitement for the start of the year. So I really hope that that's a indication of how the year is going to go. And I just appreciate that all the teachers put that effort in for back to school night. So peer mentoring. I want to bring some positive attention to a newer elective that we have at our school. It's called peer mentoring. We have it in music, art, and gym. It is a program where the special education students and gen ed students come together and attend the same class. The gen ed students are in there to be a peer mentor for the special education student, to help them in the class, be their friend, just even, as they said at back to school, like speak their lingo, learn new things. It is such an incredible program. It really is. I have to give the two teachers who are special education teachers, they saw this at another school. They came up and decided that they also wanted to do Connect What. They went to visit the other schools, learn about the programs so they could implement it at Connect What. Any student, it benefits, first off, any student who belongs in this program, and I don't care if it's your special education student or the gen ed student, everyone benefits. If you are going to be a teacher or any type of thing, in that field, this is such a great opportunity for you to step into that field at such a young age and, feel helpful. My own child, attends the class, and she came home and said, I understand now. In the beginning, the aides and TAs used to really want to help. And she said, I understand how they feel now. We just changed who your child is. And I want my kid back. I feel like he's mine, and we're together and we're friends, and I want to be with him. So I said, what a great experience, even in such a short time. The electives, we have, I can't speak enough, and I spoke about it a lot last year. We have so many electives in our high school that people do not even realize are there. Teachers have came up with these ideas. They have research. They have written curriculum. They have brought this to our school. I have to thank Ms. Poppy and Dr. C for supporting them and bringing these to our students of Connect What. They're really, and I've said this for many, many, many years, way before the board, Connect What has so much to offer if you look for it. It's what you take out of it. If you take the opportunity to sign up for the electives, to join the clubs, do the things you need to do, you can get so much out of our school district. There's so much opportunity and so many staff members who care so much to do this and write the curriculum, like I said, and do all this stuff that I can't say enough about the people who go beyond, because this is not part of their scope. This is not what they have to do, and they do this anyway. They want better for our students. They want to bring these programs and these classes and these courses to us. So I just want to thank everyone involved for doing this and thinking of new ideas to keep us moving and elevating through time and, giving kids opportunities that many districts don't have.
I just have a question. You mentioned peer mentoring, and I mean, I'm new to the high school, well, not as a graduate, but my son, but I still feel like I've heard something about peer mentoring. Oh, you knew? Okay, all right, I'm glad.
So there's a history in Connect What with peer mentoring. I didn't even know that was going on because years ago it was a very ineffective, completely ineffective program. There was a program that was brought, the history of it, so people know. The name of the program was Natural Helpers. It was here in Connecticut. It was brought in by Mr. Murtha many years ago, Mr. Brodsky. I believe Mr. Murtha brought this one. This was brought in, and it was completely ineffective. It was replaced because of it being ineffective with the freshman awareness model. I believe that program was brought in by Mr. Murtha as well. That was brought in from the Bayshore High School. I actually spoke to retired administrators who told me all about this, that it was brought in from the Bayshore model. Freshman awareness had a higher success rate. It involves choice. The entire curriculum is about making effective decisions. It empowers the self. Whereas Natural Helpers is a very liberal program that promotes reliance on others rather than a combination of both self-reliance and independence. Teachers liked the Natural Helpers because guidance and social workers would be the ones that would be doing most of the work with the students. And there was also something with leave time, I believe. I can't get into that because I don't know the whole ins and outs. That was before my time. But I do know that this was a program that the CTA president was fighting for the mentoring program to come back for many, many years. I do know that program was also said that if they brought that in, they were trying to wean out freshman awareness, which I think would be an absolute terrible thing to be done to Connecticut, considering freshman awareness has become, in my opinion, one of the best events at that high school. I don't care who runs it. I don't care what people think of who likes who. I think who runs it and who does it is incredible. I think when Mr. Murtha did it, he did a fabulous job. I believe that he brought it in because it was so successful at Bayshore. I also do know that Mrs. Goodwin and Mrs. Sempt run it each year. And I can't tell you the feedback I get from students and parents on how much they love it, that the upperclassmen come back every year and want to be a part of it. I mean, that program brings in more student involvement that night than I think than any other program that they have there, maybe outside of Safe Halloween. I know there's a lot of students that get involved in that. But this program is incredible. I would hate to see any board member using the sole entity of pushing up one thing to try to get rid of another. That I would never be for.
I would not want to see freshman awareness.
Go ahead, Jackie, you can go first.
I am with you. If that's what this is about, getting rid of freshman awareness, I do not support that. Freshman awareness is an incredible event. And as you said, the advisors who run it, they're absolutely amazing. They put everything they've got into this event. I saw things there, the unity between the students. It was again incredible. I feel like I say that word a lot about things that, I see the kids doing, but it's true. I do not support getting rid of freshman awareness at all.
I just want to be careful. Nobody said anything about freshman awareness, and I just don't want to cause like a hysteria in the community.
Okay.
I don't know if that was the intention. I'm not speaking on behalf of someone else. I just I think both things can be great and be different, and we can all agree on probably that. Both have their benefits.
Well,
I just want to be careful to avoid creating
Yes, I gave the history. That's the history. The history is we had peer mentoring. Obviously, maybe April's saying that they just brought it in. Connecticut had peer mentoring many years ago, and they had it called Natural Helpers. Mrs. Poppy's shaking her head because she knows what I'm talking about, that it was here many years ago.
I just want to add, and I will not speak for April, but I don't think that she was trying to replace freshman awareness with peer mentoring. I didn't get that impression at all. I thought you were just trying to highlight the peer mentoring, but you can.
Peer mentoring.
Let me just
freshman awareness came in to replace peer
Right.
mentoring.
I just would like
so you
to
understand
say
that. I'm just giving you the history.
One is a one-night thing, which I truly support that event. One has nothing to do with the other. This is an all-year course. And I can only speak positively from my own experience of my child in the class. The things that are happening, and just so you know, the positive things from a program, again, that's a class for all year, not just a one-night event. And we shouldn't get rid of anything because of something else happening. We should have everything good. We should be enhancing, like I said. We should not be taking away one to have one. We should always be wanting more. So is that the special ed students who in the past, I get that your program, you said it didn't work, that program. This one's working. They're being invited to sporting events. They're walking together in the hallways. They're high-fiving their friends. There are so many positives that on such a small level are coming out of this class that doesn't always have to do with education, but I think on a whole, you need more than just education to be a better person in life and grow and become.
April, there's nobody who has supported special education on this board more than me. Nobody.
It has nothing to do.
There is nobody who has, there is nobody who has fought to bring in more and more and more when it comes to special ed. There is nobody who has, and I already know this because I've seen what you want to get rid of and all that. There's nobody who has said, do these unified sports, which is also a program that brings in more and more involvement with our special education community and our everyday students.
So I would like to just make a small point of clarification. So these are, I believe, what Mrs. Iannatelli is referring to are 3 elective courses that we started to run last year. And it was really to accommodate our students who are in the life skills program specifically, and to provide them with opportunities to experience coursework with their peers in our art classroom, in a music classroom, and through PE. If I'm not mistaken, the PE course predates the art and music courses, but it's a small attempt to work into those types of experiences into student schedules.
And I think that's amazing.
It's not,
as
it's
long
not a
as they're not
replacement.
trying to, because I do know that for many years, they've been trying to bring back peer mentoring as a program in place of, and I know that if you know the history, that is the history, that they were trying to bring it in to I hate to use the word squash, but to do away with freshman awareness, which I have to tell you, when Mr. Murtha was here, it was run with Mrs. Goodwin in such an amazing way that I don't understand why today, if you have all of these, if April's saying what she's saying is true, and we have all of these, everybody wants to be involved and help the kids, then we should see a whole lot of people volunteering for freshman awareness. Because if everybody's so excited to help students, that's when I'd love to see people volunteer. It's funny how we have a hard time getting chaperones for just about every event these days. Just saying.
I just want to be careful to make that clarification. It's not an attempt to move one program or replace one program.
Well, like I said, when I saw it on here, all we get, because there's no transparency at all, is peer mentoring and electives. That's what we get. It's not, the April doesn't speak to me and Jackie pretty much about anything that goes on. So we wouldn't know. We only know what I'm looking at. And I know the history of peer mentoring. And I know this board doesn't have, like I said, the experience or the historical knowledge of what's gone on in the past. And what's gone on in the past is that has 100% been done away with, peer mentoring many years ago, the natural helpers, and they brought freshman awareness in its place.
Well, thank you for clarifying, Ms. Poppy, and Ms. Iannatelli, thank you for bringing it up. And now PSAT, Ms. Iannatelli.
So first, I'd like to say that I truly appreciate that our district brings the PSAT to the students here and allows them to have the ability to take a practice test for the SAT. I think it's instrumental in doing better on the test and gives children a good idea of what they're going to see on the SAT. With that said, I do feel the way that we advertise for the PSAT and the way that we have the parents signing up to their students for the PSAT isn't structured very well. So right now, to pay for the PSAT, you have to use a My School Bucks account. Not every student or family has a My School Bucks account. You are charged a minimal charge to place an order through My School Bucks. and I think that's unfair also. I would like the school district to come up with a better way for parents to pay for these tests so they're not incurring fees and they don't have to sign up for some kind of program, like I said, the My School Bucks, to pay for the tests. I also would like to see, Parent Square is new. We're getting these emails and you're on Parent Square. Not every parent's, familiar or checks their emails all the time. I feel a robocall should have gone out a week before the deadline, letting 11th grade parents and some 10th grade parents know that the deadline was going to be Friday, the 20th. I also, this year we have very low enrollment, very, very low enrollment. And I feel that many of those components I just spoke about added to why many students or families did not sign up to take this PSAT. So since that we do offer it, and it is during the school day, and again, it was only $18, I just feel that if we're going to offer something, we should be putting it out there. I do have to give credit to the 11th grade office. I called Mr. Modica's office as a parent, and as soon as I did and got the information, he made sure it was on the Google Classroom. But again, these are children, and not many parents are seeing the Google Classroom. So again, I just would like a better avenue, more, communication between the school district and the community when it comes to any important test or things that, the parents and students should know.
I'm going to piggyback that because communication goes right into what she's talking about.
I just wanted to add one thing to, so April, you were saying the PSAT. So there are other tests that have the same fee attached to them. So the AP tests are also paid for through this app. So and also for anybody that hasn't gotten it, Miss Weiss, our director of IT, did put out a Parent Square email the other day. She is having a Parent Square how-to or
she did a video.
Technical guide.
There's a video.
Tuesday, October 1st, October 8th, Tuesday, October 1st from 9:30 to 11, October 8th from 9:30 to 11, October 8th from 5:30 to 7, and October 9th from 5:30 to 6:30, just to give a tutorial for anybody on how to use Parent Square. There's a video on it, you're saying?
There's a video that she just uploaded on the Connect Quad Central School District site. Very good video. It's only a few minutes, and it gives you like an overview of Parent Square.
Yeah, and it'll probably teach you how to get alerts set up on your phone so that you do not miss any of this
To
information.
give her a shout out, and she deserves it, she helped me on a weekend as a parent with Parent Square. And she helped navigate me, who has no technical, forget it, it's challenging to say the least. But she was excellent. She helped me. She even, she said that if any parent needed her help, she would be willing to do the same. It wasn't, and I have said to people, call her, they have, and I have to give her a lot of credit. Everyone who has spoken to her about it, and I've spoken to the parents after I've said, give that office a call. They have told me that our IT office is amazing. They help in so many ways. I mean, I'm going to give them a shout out later for Pep Rally too. They are incredible. Thank you for all they do.
Mrs. Mallon, if I may just to clarify a couple of things. Thank you for mentioning first and foremost that Parent Academy for Parent Square. That advertisement just went up. It's on our website. It's on our social media outlets because we know a lot of information is communicated in that form as well. We're offering both in-person and virtual opportunities for support for parents, guardians, users of Parent Square in general who have questions or at any stage of usership of the app. So there's no question too small. We're accepting everyone into these academies from a first-time user, I haven't yet signed in, to a more, I'll call it experienced user who has some specific questions about some of the features of Parent Square. So thank you for bringing that into the conversation. I know that the Parent Square piece is challenging in many respects because as a community, we're still onboarding this communication platform. And so for notifications, Mrs. Iannatelli, like the ones that you're referring to, it becomes a challenge because we know that not all of our families are fully adept with the platform and with receiving notifications through the platform. I do want to be sure to clarify, and I think you bring up a great point about the robocall or the call home to advertise important events, or in this case, the PSAT deadline for registration. That's something we can certainly do moving forward. We do consistently advertise within the building, and I know you know this through morning announcements. We are sure to include all of those morning announcements on the high school's webpage, and of course, those Google Classrooms, which contain a ton of information, and it's difficult to tell how well our families are able to review all of that information within those grade level classrooms. So I appreciate the feedback. We will certainly look at different ways to accept paperless registration. That was the point in moving forward with the My School Bucks registration, to eliminate the writing of checks and the exchanging of checks during the school day. I did speak with the person who is overseeing the PSAT, and should there be any questions or any concerns about payment through My School Bucks, Mr. Clark is more than happy to take your concerns. I think his contact information was included in the outreach that was done for the PSAT. And in terms of the number of students who've registered, we did see a slight decline for 2024. We're looking at 190 students. And during the past 3 years, we've seen over 200 register for the exam. It's difficult to pinpoint why it is. Is it because of the communication? Is it because we're seeing a national decline in testing for the standardized battery of exams, the SAT, the ACT, the PSAT? Is it a combination of both? Is it a smaller class size at the junior and the sophomore levels than we've experienced in the past? But yes, we are, just to acknowledge what you offered, we did see about 190 students register to take the exam in 2024, and it is digital this year, which is another change.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that because a lot of schools are veering away from the need to have an SAT for admission. I'm wondering if a lot of students are just not taking the test because they don't need it for school. So maybe that's part of the decline, perhaps, or a combination of.
I just would like to point out that, thank you, first off, that you guys are going to look into another way to pay for the test and things like that. I just would like to point out that 190 number actually was over 40 of them were the sophomore class, not the junior class. So I just would like to point out that it was very low and although, schools are saying they're moving away, many of them are still asking for the SAT. So it's kind of a catch-22 with those SATs.
I think a lot of kids don't realize that schools still offer monetary scholarships for SAT scorers. So even though it might be optional, you do get some academic money if your score is within a certain range for those schools. Thank you. 9/11, Ms. Napolitano-Furno.
I'd like to start by honoring those who lost their lives on 9/11 and the many who have died of 9/11 related illnesses since. Nothing can really change the profound ways the events of 9/11 affected all of us. Nothing we can say or do can replace the loss of many that endured that day and that continue to in our community. I was fortunate enough to attend the Lakeland Fire Department. They did a beautiful 9/11 ceremony at night. They honored one of our Connecticut graduates. They had Connecticut families all there. It was a beautiful event. I know there was also one at St. John's that Dr. Centimore went to. Sorry, I couldn't go to both because they collide at the same time. It's beautiful events. I thank the community for having them and inviting all of us. 9/11 will always be a piece of history that occurred on New York soil. I was a little disappointed this year to not see more done across district on the actual date itself. I did hear that Sycamore did a beautiful event, but I would like to see in the future more to incorporate this into the day, not just over the loudspeaker. Parents did reach out to me. I understand that in some schools they did a nice, something nice over the loudspeaker, but really there's more that could be incorporated. It's the history, it happened here, and we should never forget. That's one. Two, 9/11, I should never see ever that they have open school night that night. I find it to be absolutely ludicrous in this day and age that now twice in the last 3 years, I have seen 9/11 on the calendar with open school night. I'm sorry, I don't want to continue hearing that it was a mistake. It was a mistake. You don't know what 9/11 is. 9/11 is well known across New York and the nation. There's no reason for this. And I hope next year when we're sitting down with a calendar, you put a big giant X on that day to remember that that's a day that we should all be honoring those who are lost and those who are fighting, and all of the families in Connecticut that have family members that may still be dying from the illnesses from that day.
So fair point about the calendar and duly noted. We did rectify that in August. But like you said, it was a rectification. I will say, and this is coming from someone who is as patriotic as they come, every building did something that day. And I just want to acknowledge, and I don't want it to sound like they didn't. There were flags all over the school district. Most of the schools were wearing red, white, and blue. A lot of the various things you mentioned, the announcements. This is I worked in several school districts in my career, and as a son of a combat veteran, I'm very sensitive to anything, certainly our first responders, but especially when you incorporate our military personnel. This is one of the most patriotic school districts I've ever worked in, been a part of. And so I know throughout the year, we do various rather large events for Veterans Day, even Flag Day. So I don't want to make it come across as that we take September 11th, the remembrance, lightly in this district. We don't. I understand that you like to go big with patriotism. And, listen, I got married on the 4th of July. My first car was a 76 Chevy. I'm very patriotic. I love it. But I do want to acknowledge our principals and our staff. They did honor the memory of those who were lost that day and those who we continue to lose. You mentioned it yourself, Ms. Napolitano-Ferno. The illnesses since we continue to lose people, and obviously first responders such as yourself, and obviously our military personnel who, as a result of the events on September 11th, had to engage in defense of our nation. So I just want to say that while there's always an opportunity to look to do more in any particular event, I do appreciate what our buildings did do.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that RMS, OBMS put out flags. I appreciate the high school. I'm going to go into what they did when I get to pep rally. I appreciated, actually, I can go into it now because it's homecoming. I appreciated what Mr. Mallory and Mrs. Necken did at the high school. Last year, I sent a video to you and Mr. Mallory, and it was of the football players from another district in another state coming down the stands to the exact song they used. So did it bring tears to my eyes? Yes. It was something I advocated for. It was something that I'm proud that they did. I appreciate it more than they know. I did send a thank you. And like I said, as a parent, as a community member, as a taxpayer, and really more importantly, as a first responder who worked down at 9/11 for 18 months, I appreciate it. And I know that anybody in this district that was down there or had anybody in their family that had it affected everybody. And it bothers me that last year there was more done on 9/11. The year before there was more done. I don't know if it's PTAs, which I don't think it is. I think it's the building admin working with the PTAs and parents and teachers. I would just like to see more done than just an announcement over the loudspeaker. There is a lot that can be done, especially with our little ones. You know, we talk about Veterans Day, we talk about Vietnam, we talk about World War I and II, we talk about Civil War. There's so much to talk about. There is so much to unpack with 9/11 in a age-appropriate manner, even if it's just having them color American flags, color things, right? I love what Slocum did a few years ago. They had a teacher, she's spectacular. She had the kids write letters and hand them to the veterans at Veterans Day. There are things that can be done. I'm just saying there's more that can be done, and I just would like to see it. It upset me that when I asked you, what can I go to today? I'm so excited. I want to make it to one of the events before I have to go to my work one. And at the time, you had said to me that they were just in school and there was nothing. And I said, really? Because one of the middle schools used to have I believe it was OBMS, used to have something outside, right? They used to have something really nice. I don't know what went on. I don't know why things have, gotten smaller. I'm sorry that I missed Sycamore. When you called me, it was just too late. I was already headed out to Nassau County. But again, I'm glad that they did something beautiful, and I would just like to see more done. 6 years ago, I fought for patriotism. It was the first thing I did on this board. I brought it in, and we sat down. We said we'll make it a policy if we had to make sure that each patriotic event was, especially something like that, was something that we incorporated into our historical educational model.
I want to bring up you mentioned Sycamore, because I agree with everything you said. And of course, first and foremost, thank you to our first responders, you, Jax, everybody that put everything aside for that. But I think it is wonderful to see our schools do things. And I do want to highlight that Sycamore, what they did, they had the Tunnel to Towers on September 10th that came to speak to the 3rd through 5th graders. It was an incredible event that really impacted a lot of the children. And then the next day, they actually had a ceremony outside. They brought all the students outside, and if a student wanted, they could recite the name of a loved one, which really connected it for them. For me personally, I love that our schools do stuff. That's the level I would love to see times 10 at all of our buildings. Something like that to really, these kids, when you think about how many years ago it was, they weren't around. They didn't really make the connection. They knew maybe they lost somebody in their family, but that really brings it home for them to make that connection, to say, oh, that family member is part of this ceremony. We're celebrating them, even though maybe they didn't ever meet them. They were too little. And I think that level of honoring 9/11 is, for me, what I would like to see at all 10 buildings.
I agree. And thank you to all our first responders in the community, that they should never go unforgotten. Communication, Ms. Napolitano-Ferno.
So I had spoke to a bunch of parents who are upset this year, and I don't blame them, because the communication, as April, you brought up with the parent square and stuff too, it's been a little bit challenging for our community. We really need to show improvement this year, because parents feel it's not transparent, nor is it clear communication, not at the building level and not at the district-wide level. So we need to get better at putting the communication out there and making sure that every parent knows what's going on. I mean, I even heard that there was some open school nights that parents were unaware of changes made. I just want to make sure that when we have things, when there's changes, like what other board members have said, whether it be a robocall, something needs to be done, especially if it's something that it's happening fast overnight. Whatever it is, let's get the communication out as fast as we can. I do appreciate, Dr. C, that you guys and security get the communications to us so fast. But like I said, I wanted to see for the parents that communication at their building level is a little bit more clear, concise, and transparent.
Thank you. Special education, Ms. Napolitano-Ferno.
So I'd like to invite the special education director, if we can, to one of our upcoming meetings, whether it be next month or even November. But I want to get a full update and hear how our students are doing, especially since I would like to see the stats and the data. If we do a deep dive to find out how are they doing now from from COVID, because I know that we had lagging and we used grant money to try to catch kids up. And we're seeing that there are so many children that are struggling still, whether it be math, whether it be, one of the other subjects. But most of it, I hear a lot more with math because of it goes off of it each year. I think it would be very beneficial to first start with special education, do a deep dive and find out what's the data, how are our students doing, what can we do to help them improve? Can we give them some sort of sources of whether it be like we did before, whether it be some sort of tutorial or something, a program or initiative to help them to try to get them up to speed if they're not already. Then I'd like to also do a deep dive into our general ed students and our honors and AP students, and also find out how are they doing in regards to from then to now. I know we probably have the numbers from the last 3 years because we've done it, but I want to see this year or at the end of last year, where are we in regards to, do we need to start working on whether it be grant money to help students educationally? We talk about all these other programs, we talk about everything else, but really we need to focus back on some of the educational piece. Again, I have fought for this for years. I really believe we need to do something for students when it comes to test taking, whether it's test taking strategies, test taking skills. I see this with my own children. I see this with my friends' children and people who I speak to. We see these kids getting 90s. And I've even spoken to educators who have said it to me. They're like, Jackie, it just goes to show you, if students are getting 90s on their report cards throughout the whole year, 95s, but then they're getting 70s on the regencies or on the tests, or they're getting a 2 on an AP score, you have to wonder, is there a retention issue? Is there a test-taking strategy issue? Is there anxiety in test-taking? Some of these things that we've spoken about, me and you, Mrs. Poppy, for the last few years. I really want to do a full court press for this because it's not changing. I'm not seeing it changing, and not every parent can pay for tutoring. As I've said, I would love to see tutoring in our district. Another piece of that is, I know from my own nephew, he's an alumni, which I thank him for coming back to tutor special education students for free. So I'd like to see us reach out to our alumni that are still in college. I didn't know, but when they're in their master's program, these students for their teaching, or whether they're in their last year of their bachelor program, a lot of times they have to tutor, especially the ones that are special education teachers. And it's free. They need to tutor students for free twice a week, or that would be a great way to help students in our district, bringing back some of our alumni, helping them get the credits they need for college while also helping our students.
So we are immersed in data right now, and so we will certainly bring forward those presentations, starting with special education. And I'll create that invitation and coordinate with Ms. Incerillo to put it on the calendar.
Absolutely. See when it works for Mrs. O'Hara. I don't want her to think it has to be like the next meeting. I know that she does the job of 3 people, and I appreciate all she does for special education. She is a gem to this district.
So last year, you may recall, we had one night where we had special education and student services give a presentation. And then we had 2 other nights where we had a secondary curriculum and an elementary curriculum. And we had talked about, and you've heard it from me, the bread and butter with the teaching and learning, obviously the mental health in there as well. So while it doesn't have to be an identical structure to last year, because I think maybe we went a year or 2 as a district where we didn't have those kind of presentations, where maybe last year was kind of a broader overview. Maybe we can look to, and you're right, it wouldn't be in a couple weeks because, you know, the data does need to be looked at, and then a strategic breakdown. But maybe that format though of, because they do spiral one another. This is special ed and student services, and then maybe in elementary and secondary, and we
They
spread it
did
over
that.
3 different board dates. Maybe we look to revisit that and maybe just be a little bit more targeted.
The last
Yeah.
few years, they did that. Mrs. Pisani did it with Mrs. O'Hara as an overview, and Gail did it with Mrs. O'Hara, I think it was, wasn't it, Mrs. O'Hara? They did, I remember them doing a big presentation though, on one of the board meetings.
Ms. Hobby, correct me if I'm wrong, and I want to say maybe it was curriculum committee. I brought up the potential for alumni to do like tutoring, and because Ms. Neckin had sent out like a thing for alumni if they wanted to participate, and there was actually feedback from parents and actually some, I think, teachers in the room that they weren't over the moon about that idea, because it was kind of like, if the student is already struggling, where's the quality control to make sure that the not already teacher is teaching correctly, if that makes sense, like, but they weren't.
Let me explain so you understand. So these students, because I know from my nephew, he's actually going to be doing it, and it's for free. He already has his bachelor's. So he's already teaching at DDI. So no. So no. So the problem is, these are our students, they're alumni from our district, who already have their bachelor's in teaching, and they're getting their master's program. So they're already teaching, but because they need, I guess, their master's for them to, for special ed, it's more so for special ed that I know you need that to come into this school, I believe, or any of the schools for that kind of program, for like the math. Am I wrong on that, or is it?
So there are a few different requirements related to observations and, of course, student teaching. And so maybe this is wrapped up into those types of.
And like I said, I just thought it was incredible that you have these students that are ours. I know it because, like I said, it's my own nephew's doing it, and it actually is free to students. How wonderful is that? We were talking about how some of these students are having difficulty with math. Well, he has a math teacher who graduates in May. Yeah, he graduates in May with his master's, is a graduate of the 2020 class here, and came back to give back to the community, special education students, for free. Why not take advantage and give them the means, or give parents of special ed, here's a couple of different options, call these people and see if they can help you. We need to try to help facilitate this kind of help to these parents, because again, I don't mind paying for a tutor. I've had this conversation with you. I pay, but I understand that there are people struggling. There are people who have lost their jobs. There are people who have have illnesses that they have to pay there. It would be nice if we could help them and get them this free tutoring and give them a pathway to be able to reach these kids, because there really isn't a way. Like I said, these students from all these different schools, like Stony Brook and stuff, they can go anywhere. Why not try to poach them to come back to us? They're our alumni.
I like that idea, and I was there for that conversation with the curriculum committee, and I do remember that happening, but I think what they were actually talking about is current students in high school. And this is a little bit different. I think that's what we were talking about, like the Honor Society students. I think that's what it was, that we were talking about having them do it like in the library, and more like that type of a student tutoring another student to say, well, are they really up to date with the curriculum and everything? They're a student themselves. And what you're talking about is something different. You're talking about somebody who's already passed all that, as you said.
So both came up. Both came up at that day. They did, and they were definitely. We kind of just kicked around. It was really brief. The students tutoring student thing. It was like, yeah, but because I specifically remember referencing the list from Ms. Neckin that she sent out to sign up, and it was like, what degree do you have? What degree are you see? Like, what can you do? What can you not do? And that came up at that same time, and the feedback was, it was specifically about math too. So it wasn't necessarily special education. This could be different. It's always about math. But I know, like, when we were talking about that, people were just like, they're having a hard enough time without bringing, like, they want like the master's degree already there, like 7 different math certifications because of how bad everyone's struggling with it. But special education could be a little bit different in that sense too. So I think I'm with you. I think it's worth revisiting, but I do remember not so great feedback when I said it that day. Nobody loved it.
I think it was wrapped up in a mathematics conversation as well. So it's something we can certainly bring back to the forefront and look at in terms of harnessing, this opportunity.
To understand both sides of this because a lot of people tutor and they get paid for it. So I don't know how many people are going to support losing money so that we bring back our alumni. But to be perfectly honest, we should be helping our alumni. We can't say once a T-bird, always a T-bird, and then our alumni come back and are willing to give back to Connecticut, who gave them so much, and give free tutoring. We should be taking advantage of that, and we should be thanking those young people because they don't need to come back here. There are other school districts that are like, come here, come here. When I got the phone call and they said, we want to come to Connecticut to do it. That's where we graduated from, Jackie. I said, all right, I'll try to facilitate this, but they said to me, other school districts would take them like this. So we need to get on the ball with this and say, no, we don't want them going to the other school districts that are willing to take them tomorrow. And we need to figure out a way to utilize their help because there are so many kids that could use it. And why not take advantage, especially the ones that can't afford to pay the expensive tutoring prices?
Okay. Pep rally, Ms. Napolitano-Furno.
I actually have something. Thank you, Jackie, for letting me go first. Pep Rally is just one of the many events that our high school hosts that's all about the kids. It's a special way to start the school year off with camaraderie between teammates and support for all from within the student body. For quite a few years, Jax has been filming the kids coming through the helmet and doing her best to capture as many teams as she can, especially the seniors who get their names announced. Parents on social media have always shown complete appreciation for her efforts since the event is not open to them. The only parents who have been able to attend are board trustees and district employees. So I'm grateful that she has always shared her experience with us all so we can witness these proud moments of our children. So this year, she once again advocated to the district to have the event live streamed for parents and the students. But unfortunately, she was met with resistance, first from April Iannatelli and then from the CTA president, who claims he does not want his teachers filmed due to, and I quote, concerns. Personally, I was shocked at his position, considering we do live stream our music concerts. And when it comes time to advocate for member benefits and salaries through a new contract, he has always promoted his teachers to come to board meetings to speak on his behalf. These meetings, as you know, we're all sitting here right now, are live streamed and widely viewed across multiple districts. Live streaming the pep rally is actually an opportunity to show some of those same members who speak so confidently at board meetings in a positive light, doing something very special for the kids. Those staff members do work very hard to make pep rally, as well as many other events, happen for the kids, and in my opinion, they deserve the recognition. Also, these are memories for the students that they can look back on years down the road and be proud. As an alumni myself, I've always cherished any memories from my high school career, whether it's my yearbook, random photos, or a video, if I'm lucky enough that it was filmed way back when. Furthermore, this is not a contractual issue. It is within the district's right to be able to live stream the event. However, it was not live streamed as originally requested. It was videoed and uploaded later on. And thank you, IT, for doing that and for being there to capture that footage. But I must express some disappointment because the sound of pep rally were drowned out and we didn't hear any senior names. Much of the excitement from the event comes from those natural sounds of announcing the teams, the names, and of course, the applause and the cheers that occur throughout. I hope we can perhaps rethink this next time around so pep rally, as it naturally occurs, can be shared with all of our parents and memorialized for our students. I also think our CTA leadership needs to be reminded that administration does not work for them. All of them, administration and the CTA, work for the community and the students. It is sad that such a wonderful idea, such as this, is an issue for the CTA president just because it was Jack's idea and it puts our kids first. So I do have to offer you a thanks, Jack, for always advocating for our students and families. And I believe the district is very lucky to have you. Thank you.
So, Pep Rally is such a great event to start the school year. I've spent many years videoing the students as they come through the helmet for the parents who are not able to be there in person. Anyone who is not a district employee or board member hasn't been able to be there. I have had many thanks from parents over the years who appreciate the efforts. At times I do miss students, and therefore I wanted it live streamed so that if I miss somebody, every student and every parent would be able to see their child. Not once has any parent asked me to remove a video or a photo from Pep Rally. If they did, I would of course respect their wishes, as always. I have also advocated strongly for the district to live stream the event since, of course, they have the means and technology now to do so better than I can. Both Marisol and Jackie D acknowledged my efforts and showed support for the live streaming. I appreciate that. Thank you, Marisol. Thank you, Jackie. Melissa did not offer an opinion one way or another. I know that I didn't hear from you either way, but April opposed the idea and stated that a few parents said it's an event that is only for the kids, so let it be. After that statement, I was surprised to see April attend the pep rally herself for a front row seat. It was clearly evident that she was once again not actually speaking for parents, but speaking on behalf of the CTA president. This was later confirmed when we learned that he had concerns about his staff being filmed. His concerns are not supported by the contract, which I brought to the superintendent, because it is not a contractual issue, which further proves that his efforts to stifle the filming of this wonderful event that showcases his members doing something really fantastic for the kids are solely anti-Jackie. Even Marisol admitted to me when I asked her at a soccer game the other day that had someone else brought this idea forward, I asked, do you think that it would be given any trouble? Or if you brought it forward, Marisol, do you think it would go through? And she admitted that there are times that...
I said no comment.
No, oh, now you'll say no comment.
I said, I won't say anything. That's what I said.
Okay, because you clearly said to me when you were standing there...
I did smile at you and I said, I don't have anything to say to that.
You said you believed at times it is because it was me. But okay. I'm sorry to the community that expected better from April, since either she fell into his trap or she truly is only here to do his bidding, instead of doing her due diligence to the community that elected her. Luckily, this event was recorded, and I thank IT very much for their being there and this beautiful Friday afternoon to take the footage. You guys did an incredible job, and I do appreciate you coming out last minute. I was disappointed to see that we could not hear any senior names. I do not blame you for that. The sounds of pep rally were drowned out by music, which I'm sure was some other issue that we have here at the district, because I do know that there were certain things that I asked for. I am the one that advocated for the video as well after being told that we would not be live streaming. I did ask, then can you video for me? I said, it's not just for me, it's for the students. Years ago, Mr. Maniaci did a fabulous job. You can look back on social media, 2015, 2016, 2017. He had reached out to me in the years, a few years ago, and asked for my videos, which I sent him privately, and my pictures when he couldn't make one. The point of videoing this event was to capture everything about the event. I didn't mean you had to capture the audience, to this, to that. I stated, you don't have to video teachers or staff. You can video just the helmet and the cheer girls, which you already do through Huddle for the football games, which we never got anybody's permission to do that. In my opinion, the request was only met halfway because of the CTA president's tendency to bully and manipulate anyone who pushes back. I hope to see better going forward, and our students can have these memories properly recorded and archived for them. I'm sorry to the parents who I spoke to, because they knew I was advocating strongly for them. My other issue, and I've said this for years, and I'll say it again, I ran into the CTA president with Jackie at the retirement of the teachers. His words to me, and I quote, "Me and you, we agree on 90% of everything." 90% of everything. He said he agreed with me on 90% of everything. His words, I appreciated it, because I wouldn't have said that, so I appreciate that. But at the same time, while I respect that he is there to fight for his members because I understand how union leadership works. So I understand he's within his right and he should fight for his members, and he does strongly. But how dare board members fight for him over fighting for our children and our parents? Let their voices be heard. If you really want to know how parents feel, send a survey out to the parents. I guarantee you the majority want to see their children. I guarantee you, because what I was told in an email from April was that at a PTA meeting that I was at, where I brought it up to the principal and Dr. C and as a parent and everyone else was there, I spoke to those parents that were there. I spoke to 90% of them. And they all said, what are you talking about, Jackie? We want it. We want it to be live streamed. We want to see our students, especially senior parents. I felt terrible this year because as a senior parent myself, I could be there, but they couldn't. And what I was most upset about is I challenged April to say, if you don't want to be there because you strongly think parents shouldn't see this, then you should not attend. Now, I wrote that in an email.
But wait, because
but yet she attended and stood the entire time with her children.
But I think that it all comes down to the interpretation, because when I read April's email, I didn't take it as she was advocating.
Marisol, all you do
I don't think that she
is on and on and on. No, listen.
But wait, just let me say my point, Jackie. Just let me say.
It's absolutely lunacy. As a board president, you're not supposed to be biased. As a matter of fact,
I'm not being biased. I'm offering.
You're supposed to offer.
You offered how you interpreted the email. I'm offering how I interpreted the email. I interpreted it as she was just saying, "This is what I've heard." She wasn't giving an opinion either way about the pep rally. That's
Marisol. Board president needs effective communication. She needs to establish trust with every board member. In order for the board to perform more effectively, the board president needs to be responsive to each member that serve as a collective body. You want to have inclusive environment to build consensus, not just use your friends to make decisions. Board of Ed presidents need to help create an environment to move the Board of Ed into a more collaborative arena. Marisol, you need to learn how to regain and keep control of the board, as well as you need to learn how to not have biases, because every time I say something, you seem to want to just come at me. Yet April was very clear. And was I not clear in saying, if you don't feel parents should be there, then how dare you show up there? Because you feel I'm allowed to be there because I'm an elected board member? We should be fighting for our parents to be able to see what we see. It's a positive event. The advisors, the Piscatellis, did an incredible job. Thank you to them. The student government, Mrs. Goodwin, Mrs. Senft, incredible job. The administration, incredible job. I tip my hat to everybody. That is an incredible, I would be calling Channel 12 for that and having them come and do clips. Why would you not want that videoed? Why would you not want that sent to your parents? Why? I don't understand it. I advocated for students and for parents for the concerts to be live streamed. I've advocated for years. You sitting here say something about Marisol, you say something for April. Why don't you say, for the last year or two, I've been advocating for live streaming. Have I not?
But Jackie,
or should you say that you don't remember?
I'm not saying that I do or don't. I don't even know what you're talking about at this point. What I'm saying is that you said how you interpreted April's email. I said how I interpreted April's email. This isn't against you or pro April. It's just my interpretation of the email.
Marisol,
and yes, I do give you, Jackie, I also give you props when you have great ideas. I supported the live streaming of the pep rally. I thought it was a great idea. We didn't was it enough time to vet it with all the parties involved?
No, it's not when people are taking a knee to Tony.
But
people are taking a knee to the CTA president. You guys represent him. You don't represent the students and parents of this district, and it is a shame.
Okay, so for the record, I wrote that parents said it's for the kids. I did write that. I never once said I was for it or against it. I just pointed out that not every parent agreed that it was for parents. I also heard staff members agree that it's for the kids, not for parents. I personally did not once tell you I was against it. Now I'm going to speak for the fact that we just go on and on. I mean, this is 10 o'clock. I'm like, what? We just really, it's like, honestly, a flood of the same exact thing. We have to learn to say a sentence, and we don't need to repeat it 100 times. The community gets it. We can say it once and be done, in my personal opinion. As for Tony, I'd like to tell a little story. I have been to many board meetings over my years. I've always seen Tony from behind because I was the type of person that always sat in the back. Never really saw Tony. At the retirement meeting last year in the spring, a man came up to me and took his hand and put it out and went to shake my hand and said something to me. I looked at him, had no clue who he was. He said, April, I'm Tony from the CTA. Now, many people do not know that I do not know him. Many people don't know that I just met him for the first time last spring. But since we accuse me of things and make accusations, we should be clear and maybe do research, as once people say, to know if somebody actually has any communication with someone. No pocket. Don't even know the pocket to go in.
Yeah, no, I know who the puppet is. When your words match his in the same email, it's kind of, doesn't take a genius to figure it out. It's not great minds. Trust me, it's not great minds.
So going forward, what do we do for this situation, right?
Dr. Centimore is going to offer some.
Right, like I'm done with this conversation.
All right, so first, I appreciate the passion behind the event because it is an outstanding event. I appreciate the fact that the IT department was recognized because I went to the IT department with only a couple of days' notice. They did the video recording. And there definitely were some technical challenges with the audio. The wind in particular that day had a major impact. So with the IT department, and several of my cabinet members assisted them because we knew it was such a priority to get this up to the community as quickly as possible. They basically put together a video production, like if you would go to a Sweet 16 or some kind of special anniversary or a birthday party. They put together a video production on a late Friday afternoon, early Friday evening. And there were audio challenges, and that's why they did the music over. So I appreciate Ms. Poppy, Mr. Khalifa, and various members of our IT department who collaborated on that. It was a very good idea that came from Ms. Napolitano-Ferno. When I said that we weren't going to live stream this year. And so we put something up. Again, we're very appreciative, and there were some audio challenges. Sometimes you could have the right, and I do believe that the district has the right to live stream an event such as the pep rally. Sometimes you could have the right, but it not be the right timing. And the idea, great idea. It did have a lot of support. That was at least recently. It may have come up in past, but at least recently was expressed at the PTSA meeting Monday evening of last week. Yeah, it only allowed several days. And yes, the CTA, first through their building leadership and then through their executive leadership, did express concerns. And there was just not enough time to vet those concerns, to ease concerns, to ease perceptions and misperceptions, and to have a conducive dialogue. As a superintendent, what I did not want to happen in the 11th hour was to cast a negative shadow over our kids for not just the pep rally on Friday, but the homecoming on Saturday. So if the board feels very strongly and passionate about live streaming the pep rally, again, I do believe it is our right to do it. I would like to have a sit down with the CTA leadership so we could vet their concerns and put them at ease. The focus is on the kids. I'm not sure about the audio challenges.
Is it true that it was going to be live streamed through Huddle for the sports parents? Because that was something that I had heard through the grapevine. Before I said anything, because I had advocated last year for it. And I believe I was told that there were people trying to make it happen before I brought it up.
Yeah, so I don't know.
And it will
prior to Monday, I was not privy to those conversations. But once the idea came up Monday night of last week, the huddle was one of the things that was being considered. And again, I don't know from an audio perspective if there would have been a challenge. Sometimes with outdoor events, you may have to go through a vendor. So there are, in addition to any CTA concerns, there are some technical components. And again, with only a couple of days, I made the decision to table the idea of live streaming, a great alternative idea to video. Great job of videoing by the IT department, and we had some audio challenges, so it went to the music playover.
Is there any way that you can show the board that video? Because I'd like to see it. I'd like to see the audio challenges. I mean, I used a cell phone and I didn't have any audio challenges, so I just would like to hear it.
Yeah, you could definitely hear the wind. You could hear some of the names. You can't hear all the names clearly. So, you know, we could certainly play it in an exec session or something. I mean, but, you know, again, it was a late Friday afternoon, early Friday evening, and they made a decision, and I understand it. They wanted a quality product to go out to the community quickly, not delayed till Monday or Tuesday of the following week, this week, and that's how it ended up with the music playover. But I understand there was a disappointment because once we said we were going to the video, there was the natural assumption, and I get it, that you would hear the DJ's music, not any kind of voiceover music, and you'd hear, you know, names and teams being announced. They did put labels up. That was another piece of the editing, and there was also no downtime in between. So there was a great deal of editing that was done in a very short period of time. I understand the disappointment, and if the board feels very passionate about the live stream, then we'll sit down and have the conversation with the association to ease their concerns. And then we'll also look at the technical piece and in terms of the quality of the audio.
I believe we should keep our parents involved. I believe it's something positive that we should be showing and showcasing. And it was something that I have advocated for over a year. It was just obviously some people forgot or didn't hear me. But at the end of the day, if you spoke to some of the other administrators, I'm sure they can tell you they know that I have brought this up before. This isn't the first time.
Okay, I was going to say, does anybody have anything else? Yep.
Just a quick question, and I'm not looking to revisit the cell phone conversation, but something that I kind of have to ask about. What are we doing to clean those pockets? Cell phones are known to be some of the dirtiest things, and now you have 4, 5, 6 cell phones sharing a pocket every day, kids' hands in there, illnesses going around, we're hitting that season. What are we doing to make sure that these things remain clean and germs are not going from one kid's phone, they're breathing on their phone, go in the pocket, another kid picks the phone, and that phone's on their face? What are we doing to take care of that? Has anybody thought about that?
We shall inquire.
And also, can we have for the next board meeting, I'd like an update on the liability, since I still don't have a clear written copy of what the liability is before a phone breaks. And then I'm saying to you guys, this is something I brought up 10 times to you.
I just want to throw out there, thank you for letting me tag along open school night so I could experience it. But we were there, and I do want to throw out there, I don't know for sure, but I saw some of our custodial staff that was there cleaning, and like all but with a Q-tip on the bottom of these classroom floors and everything. I feel like they probably thought about it, but I would like to know for sure. But like, I don't think we're just ignoring, like.
I don't think that's what she's saying. We have an incredible custodian.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think they would know to like write something down.
Throughout the day, we're not expecting, nor would I ever ask custodians to go daily from classroom to classroom to clean cell phone holders that aren't even really cell phone holders, they're like shoe holders. And I think that we need to be a little bit, you know, the kids are going into the class.
They're touching the desks too, though. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is like no different than like like they have their hands all over their desks. No one's going in between every single class and wiping them down. They're touching every door. Like, at that point, we're going to like all have to walk.
Listen, I'm just waiting for the first phone to break. I know that my own personal child, since April was bringing it up, his phone broke the first day, his screen protector. I paid out of my own pocket because I didn't care. But if it would have been his actual screen, me as a parent would want to know what's the liability, because someone else threw it, not him. Kid took out his phone, put it back in, and threw it in because they're Russian, they're all Russian, and the phone hit the ground. That's going to happen because they're kids. This wasn't the most well thought out and implemented way.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything? Okay. Can I call for a motion and a second to approve the personnel items as presented?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions?
Yes.
Oh, you do?
There's a couple of stipends I was questioning. Hold on. No, I have it. I think it was the are we doing that for all of them? We're doing one stipend and we are, halving it? Is that, oh, here we are. I got it, I circled it. Like, I noticed that we have the Music Honor Society, like, it's a split. Is that how we're doing it now? Is it one?
It's one stipend
And we're
that's in
splitting it?
Schedule C, and if we have multiple advisors, we
Right.
split the one stipend.
And we split it equally for each of them?
Yes.
Normally, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Okay, that's all I was wondering what that, because I saw the split and I thought we had stipends per person, not the whole, it's one stipend and it gets split.
Not always. There are a lot of different clubs that sometimes we have multiple advisors and they split the stipend. Another one that is similar, we've talked about, ad nauseum, is the yearbook advisor. We've split that stipend.
But that one, isn't it like one person gets more as the lead and one person gets less?
There were 3 advisors, if you recall, and we took the total and split it 3 ways.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Can I call for a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 9 of the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions?
Just a quick question about the number of, oh gosh, I think it's number 4. The one with that we're increasing 60,000 for the overall budget amount for, and I put my paperwork away. Yeah, the attachment that was with it, I'm just wondering, it doesn't show the 60,000. I was just wondering what line item it's going to. Because it says, it has the original amount that was approved last time, and I can't remember what number this was.
Number 4?
It is number 4, okay. Yeah, number 4, the handicap. I just wanted to know what line item it was going to, because just for.
The summer handicap budget.
So it's contracted services,
Right.
which is for a student who came into the program, came into the district that wasn't anticipated.
And that's fine, and I'm not questioning, I'm questioning that this sheet doesn't have the updated amount to show where that money is going. Just when I look at the budget, when budget season comes up, I like to compare the paperwork, make sure things match. It was just a numerical thing. Yeah, the original memorandum shows that we're going from 1,420,000 to 1,480,000, but I don't see the. Thank you. Yeah, just because I like to, make sure for me, to make sure things.
No,
match
it's an
when I
important
look at the
component of
budget.
fiscal oversight,
Yes,
absolutely.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes. I had asked you guys, it was about the facilities use organizations. I know in the past,
What
it's
number?
been frowned upon. It's number 9. It's been frowned upon when we do things that are not, that don't have that 60% number. And I just wanted to know what the explanation was or what the reasoning is.
So I have some additional information, which is, so Vinny is the treasurer of the SCALA. There's only 2 dates that they're asking for here, which is October 16th and October 24th. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that teachers of ours are participating in this as well. So even though it doesn't meet the, I'll say, participation rate of the community members, it does involve several of our staff members.
Okay, is that for both, or is it that just for that one?
The SCALA, and the other one, that new.
The other one is
acronym?
New York State Art
Yeah.
Teacher Association.
Yep.
And Mr. Hauser and maybe Ms. Poppy, are there scholarship components for our students that benefit from this?
Yes, I don't have the specific details of how many scholarships or the amounts, but they have been awarded in the past, and they are being awarded this year as well.
So maybe what we'll do, in addition to Ms. DiLorenzo's question about that fiscal breakdown, maybe we could also, even if it's last year's information, if we don't have anything numeric for this year, either we can give it to Ms. Incerillo, tomorrow or the next day. And if not, I could always include it in my Friday update to the board, whatever comes sooner.
That would be great, thanks.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. I will now open the floor for the second open public comment portion of the agenda. And before I read all of this, is anybody looking to speak? Okay. So before we adjourn, I just want to note that our October meetings have been moved. The new dates are Monday, October 7th and Monday, October 28th. So we just had some move the dates around. So just wanted to make that out there for the public. Can I call for a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everyone.